Can you stop driving near my window? Great, thanks. Appreciate it. So you want to get a good score on the SAT? You want to make your parents proud, or your counselor, or your 3-year-old golden retriever. You probably just want to go to a good school where you can get a good education to pursue whatever career you want to go into. Well, either way, you have come to the right place. My name is Ahmed Farah, and today we're going to be talking about the SAT. I will be telling you about my personal experience with it, and some advice I have for you to get the best score you possibly can. So my first experience with the SAT was during my exchange year in the United States. At the time I was taking the old version of the SAT, which was out of 2,400 points. It really wasn't a priority for me at the time because, again, the reason I was taking it is just to get admission to this local college. I didn't need to get an amazing score or anything, I just needed to get that bare minimum to get into the university that I wanted to take dual enrollment classes at. I prepared for maybe like a week or two, and I ended up getting a pretty good score, 2120 out of 2,400, which is, a decent score. I was very proud of it, and it allowed me to sign up for the school's dual enrollment program. So, hooray. Fast forward about a year later, I was retaking the SAT in my junior year of high school. Now this time it was a pretty big deal because this was the score I was planning on sending to universities for college admissions during my senior year. So, I prepared a lot more. I was preparing perhaps for 6 weeks, yet maybe even 2 months. I can't recall exactly. And I was taking the new version of the SAT, which I hadn't taken previously. But again, I had some experience from taking the SAT about a year before then. And when the scores came out in December or November, I think it was November, I got 1560 out of 1600, which is substantially higher than I expected, but I'm not going to complain about that. And that was the score I ended up applying to colleges with. I didn't retake the SAT afterwards, I just took my SAT subject tests, and that was it. From that experience, I learned a couple of things that I wanted to share with you guys to help you with your SAT prep journey. Number one, most important thing when it comes to SAT prep is time. Make sure that you have plenty of time to prepare for the SAT. I personally prepared in maybe 6 weeks or 8. I recommend that people start preparing for the SAT 2 to 3 months before the actual test date. More than that, and you risk forgetting a lot of the information that you're going to be learning at the beginning. Less than that, and you risk cramming a lot of material in a very short amount of time. And that's not key to succeeding in the test, especially that the more time you're going to have to spread that material over, the more vividly you're going to remember it on the test date. And again, you don't have to be cramming for the test. 20 to 30 minutes, even 40 minutes if you're pushing it every day is really all you need to study for the SAT. Perhaps you'll be studying a little more than that every day towards the day of the exam because you're going to be taking practice tests. But aside from that, really, you don't need to be studying that much for it. You just need to spread the content over a long period of time. Tip number 2. Don't get frustrated. And I know this can be very hard, but I've had moments where I wanted to slam the book against the wall, just like tear it apart, and swear to God that I will never ever be taking this test because it's just so frustrating and it makes no sense at times. But always remember that A, this is really just a standardized test. It is not a measure of how intelligent you are, how successful you're going to be at college, or how well you've spent the past few years of your life in high school and middle school. The second thing to know is that the questions on the SAT are phrased in a very weird way at times. And this is done by design. It is done to confuse you. And sometimes you look at the reasoning behind the answers that the test designers are giving these practice tests, and they just make absolutely no sense to you. And that's fine. The things that we learn in a classroom, whether it be in a math class for the math section or in a literature language class for the critical reading and writing section, are quite different from the skills that you're going to need to succeed in the SAT. So don't get frustrated. You just have to kind of wrap your head around this new paradigm of thought that you have to get accustomed to in order to succeed in the SAT. And the sooner you're going to accept that the SAT is designed to be confusing and that it requires a different set of skills and a different way of reasoning, the easier your time is going to be preparing for the test and taking it, and the higher your scores are going to be. So remember that it is just a test, it is very confusing, and you really just got to understand how the test takers are designing it and how they interpret texts and equations and things like that for you to actually succeed in this test. Tip 3, prep material. So I used 2 different books to prepare for the SAT. Disclaimer, none of the publishers, creators, or people behind these books are sponsoring me in any way. I just think they're great resources and I want to recommend them to you because I want you to achieve the best score you can on the SAT. So book number 1 is the Princeton Review SAT 1600. This is a fairly small book, but it requires a ton of great information. I didn't do the drills on the book as much, and I pretty much only used it for the critical reading and writing section, but it does a great job at just categorizing the different questions that you're going to encounter in the test and the different approaches you'll have to take to each of them to get the right answer. Especially for the reading section, it really helps you wrap your head around the different rules that the SAT requires you to know and apply effectively and quickly to get to the right answer. The math section on this book is also pretty good. I haven't used it extensively, so I can't talk about it that much, but I think it is a great resource and definitely recommend it to students taking the SAT. The second resource I used, perhaps the most important one, is the SAT Black Book. Now, the SAT Black Book has a ton of different material. It is not meant to be read page by students, but you're just supposed to go to the index and pick the parts that you think are going to help you most, depending on where you're lacking in the SAT. Personally, for me, what was most helpful is, weirdly, the introduction. That part is not as much about exercises and drills and getting that information drilled into your head for you to remember on the test day, but it's about how the test creators actually create the test and the motivations behind why the phrasing on some of the critical reading questions are pretty weird, why certain questions pop up in certain texts, and just the motivation overall for creating this convoluted, annoying test for the purposes of college admissions. Personally, it helped me change the way I view the SAT, and it definitely helped me enjoy the process of preparing for it a lot more and making it less frustrating, and also understanding why I'm doing this in the first place. And I think that's a very important thing to do for everyone who's spending, 40, 50, 60 hours of our lives preparing for this test. So I definitely recommend that book as well. It was a great read. It definitely helped me understand why I'm taking this test and how I can invest my time and energy in the best way possible to achieve the best results. So yeah, SAT Black Book, definitely a thumbs up. So yeah, that is all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer as many as I can. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends who might be taking the SAT soon. And let me know, what was your most infuriating or frustrating experience that you have preparing for the SAT? I will see you guys very soon. Good luck and bye!